What's up guys, ATCG here, and today we have the Banlist prediction video. It hasn't been that long since the last one, but Konami has decided that they will make this like the smallest format in Yu-Gi-Oh history, like 2 months. We should have the new Banlist in about 2 to 3 weeks. Well, the format is quite healthy in my opinion, but we have been in the same format for quite a while now. I think it's about time Konami made like a big list and completely change the game so that they can also promote the new products. For the banned cards, first up, of course, we have Summon Sorcerers. Summon Sorcerers recently got printed in Europe, but she felt like a Sixth Sense kind of card. A card that was like too broken for the game. They printed her for one format so that they can sell the special edition. And now I think it's time for her to go. She's been abused in hand loops, extra links, lockdowns, FTKs. She's too powerful a card to stay. And I think one format for her was enough in Europe. In America, they've had her for quite a while. So I think she's had her time. Next up, we have Gambler. The Firewall hit was really crucial, but Go-Keys and Dark Warriors are still very powerful. They can hand loop for 6 with the introduction of Neospace Connector, and they can still make very powerful boards. Following this trend, we also have Rongo Miniad, because Rongo Miniad is a card that doesn't let your opponent play at all. We could hit Bamboozling instead, but I think like leaving Rongo Miniad would just let it end up in him being abused in the future with some kind of form of warrior deck. Bamboozling is not the problem, and also Bamboozling is being played in Salamangreats, so I don't think they would want to ban him. Not yet, at least, if it's still a problem in the future. Next up, we have Jelen Duo, another FTK-oriented card with the combination of the Flare Metal. This card can burn infinitely your opponent. So yeah, Jelen Duo is a card that should be banned. Technically, without Summon Sorcerers, it's not a viable FTK, because you don't have a way of giving it to your opponent, but just for the purpose of being safe, I think Jelen Duo needs to be banned. It's not a card anyone's going to miss anyway. Next up, we have Galaxy Tomahawk. The FTKs using it, Dangers, will get more support, so maybe we'll get another level 7 one, and Tomahawk will become even easier to summon. So I think it's a card that needs to go as well, because generating 5 tokens is very, very powerful. And you can use it like in Mermails or any Danger variant, or even in Spirals. So yeah, it's a card that needs to go. And the last card is Soul Shards. Soul Shards is an unfair card because of the types of deck it's being used in. It's being used in all those FTKs, lockdowns, and extra links, and hand loops, and etc. It's a card that, drawing it, guarantees that the play will go off regardless of what disruption your opponent may have in their hand. So that is why Soul Shards is a card that needs to be banned. It's had its time for like 3 years now, or maybe even more, I can remember. So yeah, I think it's the card, the only spell right now that should be banned. For the limited, we have Scaldred. Technically, banning Slash Throw would deal with the FTK, yes, I agree with that. But leaving 3 Scaldreds with the Dangers and even new Dangers coming out would mean that there's still a way to draw your entire deck. And if you can draw your entire deck, then there's a guarantee that there will be another FTK. Like, there are so many cards that burn. Hitting the burn cards is not the issue, because like you saw, like hitting Firewall dealt with all the monster burn cards, and what did players do? They just went to spell burn cards like Slash Throw. So banning Slash Throw would deal with the problem for right now, but another problem will come up in the future. I mean, Scaldred is being used only at 1 in OK decks. Like, there's only in this deck that you can summon 3 Scaldreds easily. So I think there's not a problem limiting Scaldred. Next up is Kagari. The OCG did the same thing with Sky Strikers, but the deck is still very powerful, only because they have 3 Pot of Avarice and 3 Maxi. Maxi, of course, because it's a deck that doesn't get hurt by Maxi at all, and it acts like the perfect defending tool against all these combo decks. And 3 Pot of Avarice means that you can go through Kaina, Hayate, Kagari, and Shizuku, and next turn put them all back, get a +1, and still have the Kagari in the extra deck. so that hit didn't do that much to address the deck. But in our format, where both Maxi and Pot of Avarice are banned, I think this hit, in combination with some other hits that I will talk about later, will be enough to deal with Sky Strikers. I still think the deck will be playable, but not quite as dominant as it is right now. Next, we have Multi-Faker. Altergeists aren't as impactful as they were in the OCG, because in the OCG they have one Multi-Faker and two Spoofing, but they have been in the game for one more month than Sky Strikers, and I think they've had their prime. It's about time for the game to change, to move to a new format with new decks. We have Infinity Chasers with 3 new archetypes. We have Salamangreats that they have a really good support. I think that this FTK, Sky Striker, and Yugioh Vrains format with Gokis, Trickstars, Altergeist, I think it's about time for it to go. Now, following that, we have Trickster Reincarnation. I don't think Trickstars are a problem, but I do agree that the Trickster Reincarnation draw combo is a very degenerate one. This way, it's still possible to pull off, but with one Reincarnation, if you lose your entire hand to draw, then it's entirely your fault, because with one Reincarnation, the Trickster player has to wait for you to make a search first, and then they can resolve it. Unlike when they have 2 Reincarnations, they can just activate them both in the standby phase, and you lose your entire hand without being able to do anything about it. So yeah, being able to play around it is very important. I don't think Droll is a hit-worthy card. It's a very fair card against dangers, because it's the only thing that can stop them consistently. So yeah, with one Reincarnation, the deck loses consistency, it loses power, because they can't use all these Monster Reborns back to bring out very powerful links, and they also rely on your opponent to be able to use the Droll Reincarnation combo. For Thunder Dragons, I think the only hit should be Gold Sark. Thunder Dragons is pretty much the most recent out of the decks, I should say, that I think need to be addressed. It's not an unfair deck by far, but it's still very powerful. This hit would not do that much. In the OCG, it doesn't see that much play because of Max C, but now that they hit everything else, people started using Thunder Dragons more in the OCG as well, in combination with Dinos as well. So Gold Sark at 1 would mean that the deck would not be the best deck, but it would be still a very powerful deck. And the last limited card is Lapis Lazuli. When Konami decided to address the Gemini FTK, they went the completely wrong route. They limited Master Diamond. Well, you can bounce back Master Diamond with Unicorn, summon it again, and then just you have the good old Gemini FTK. But with one Lapis Lazuli, you won't be able to burn for 8,000. With one Lapis Lazuli and Master Diamond, the most you can do is 6,000 damage. Maybe if you incorporate cards like Black Garden, then maybe, yes, you can still pull the FTK, but that would mean that your deck is not that consistent, because you have to include bad cards like Black Garden, or you have to include Terraformings to get to Black Garden, and on drawing them on the first turn means that you won't be able to FTK, and it's just 5 cards with 3 Gardens and 2 Terraformings. So yeah, that would not be an FTK people would choose to play in competitive events. For semi-limited, I don't have many. Just the 2 Sky Striker cards, Engage and Widow Anchor. I think following the OCG is the right way to go, because experimenting with different cards might lead to Sky Strikers dominating in another format. Maybe limiting multi-roll and leaving the rest would mean that Sky Strikers would still be the best deck, and I think going the safe route, because the OCG has proven that without Avarice and without Maxi, the deck would not be playable. Actually, not playable, but not broken. You can still play cards like Monster Reborn or Magnet Reverse to recycle the 1 Kagari, but it's not the same as having Pot of Avarice, shuffling them all back, drawing 2 cards, and being able to repeat the same loop over and over again. So yeah, I think these 2 cards are okay at 2. And it means that you can still kind of use the engine, with 1 Kagari, 2 Engage, and 2 Widow Anchor in other decks, because the deck, I think Sky Strikers is the only thing that kept this degenerate format from not being unhealthy, because they are so powerful and so fair of a deck that they were able to keep the game interactive. And maybe it's not fair in the way that you are going to get outgrinded, yes, but you never feel overwhelmed against Sky Strikers that you were not able to play. It feels like a fair deck while not being a fair deck, if that makes sense. And the last card for Unlimited is Master Diamond. If they hit Lapis Lazuli at 1, at least they should unlimit Master Diamond, like they did with A Assault Core when they banned Firewall. There's no reason for Master Diamond to be limited whatsoever. I mean, unlimiting him would mean that Geminites would still have a possible play, maybe and go for Calamity's first turn to try and lock down your opponent, so it would still be a playable deck, because having Lapis Lazuli and Master Diamond both limited means that the deck has no win condition. Maybe like going second for an OTK, but that's not very viable. So yeah, that's the list. I think that the new decks, we know Salamangreats are going to be good. We are still waiting for the Infinity Chasers archetypes. Cursed Eye seems very promising. We already have 3 cards announced, and we have 10 more. And if the 3 first cards are good enough, then with the addition of 10 more, they have the potential to be broken. Yeah, I think it's about time for the game to go into a new era. We've played this format for like 8 to 9 months now. And yeah, it's been like problems have been solved, problems have come up. But now it's time to turn the page and move to a new state of Yu-Gi-Oh! So yeah, thank you for watching. Leave us your thoughts in the comments below, what you think should be hit, if you think like the Banlist should not be that big one, like the last one where it hit only 4 cards, or if you agree with me and you think that the game needs to change completely. So yeah, thank you for watching. See you next time.